Hey, it's Charisse Marie live in your feed. Hello. I hope I can see your comments today. I hope everybody shows up and chats with me. I would love to have you all here. I'm just going to give it a minute and just see how I got cat hairs floating in the air. Just see how everybody's doing. Ooh, it's exciting, isn't it? Oh, I can cross post this. That's interesting. That's new. Interesting. Okay, just other business pages. I don't have any other business pages that I manage that I would want to put this on, so we won't do that. Shh, it's a big secret. I have other business pages, but they're not for this. So there you go. Do I need that? I'm going to assume that I can see all the comments on here. Hopefully I can. Fingers crossed. So, yesterday we talked about kind of an overview of how to use Pinterest itself. Today, I want to talk about why most new coaches fail. I've got 3 reasons, they're written down here, and I think it is a really important topic for hello, everybody. Hey, Christina. I think that really why new coaches fail is such an important topic, and it's not one that anybody else really tackles. They all want to be all sunshine and rainbows and puppy dog kisses and unicorn farts and bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And the reality is, most new coaches fail. It sucks, but it's so true. There are stats out there. Hey, sis. There are stats out there. She's my silent partner, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that. I'm outing her right here, right now. She is officially part of this little crazy, nutty business that I've got going on. So, welcome, Sylvia. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, it's something that not a lot of people talk about. The average coach makes $20,000 a year. That's average, taking into account all the superstars who are making 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. The average coach makes 20, which means that most coaches, now that's not even median, that's like average. So that means that most coaches are making significantly less than that. And I know when I was a life coach, I was making significantly less than that because it's really hard to move from all the crap that we're taught and that's talked about and to actually figure out the important pieces to your business. And the most important one for me is that pain web that I talked about yesterday. What are your clients' pain points in language that they talk about them, not the way you talk about them, but the way that they talk about them? And what is their dream outcome? Again, in their language, not your language. I don't care about your language. The way that you describe it does not matter. Now, the best way to find that information is to ask them. Not asking yourself, not asking other coaches, not asking, your mom. God bless her, but your mom is not the right person to ask this of. Unless she's your ideal client, you really don't want to talk to her about this. You need to go find your people and beg, borrow, steal, bribe. I don't care what you have to do. Get them into a conversation so that you can use their words. You're it's not even about selling them at anything at that point. It's just simply saying, "Hey, I'm doing market research and I would love some feedback. I'm doing market research. I really need to get inside the mind of my ideal client, and you are my ideal client." Now, number one, you've just clarified that you're not selling them anything yet. Number two, you flattered them a little bit because you said that they're your ideal client. Unless your ideal client is like, something that's maybe a little less, that's something that's embarrassing. Okay. If your ideal client is someone who is struggling with a lot of flatulence and IBS and they have bowel issues, maybe you don't want to say, hey, you're my ideal client to strangers, because that's going to just offend them. But maybe you could post in other people's groups in a way that gets them curious and then say, hey, I'd love to connect, and then take it offline. And without saying, hey, you're my ideal client, you could say, I'm looking for feedback on this idea that I've got. Can I chat with you? So certain sensitive topics, you really want to be a little more sensitive and sympathetic and not just calling it out, especially not live in front of other humans, because that can be really embarrassing. Okay, but that isn't actually any of the top three things that I want to talk about, really. Well, it kind of is. It's number two. You need to ask for feedback and advice. Facebook groups are good. Another place that nobody really talks about, and that I am really sucking because I've been talking about it for 7 months, no, 2 years now, and haven't really dialed into it yet, but I will, is using Quora and Reddit and boards like that, or places like that with lots of boards and lots of questions being asked, to go in there and ask your questions or provide your answers and really kind of provide a lot of value to those people. And the more value you can provide, provided that your profile is optimized, you're going to get clients. It's that simple. No, well, you probably will get clients, and or at the very least, you will have more market research information. It's funny because one of the things that I loved about my last business was all of the transformation that I provided. But when I went into Quora and Reddit for that specific purpose of looking for potential clients for that business, I found that people weren't generally asking questions that related to my business, which meant that it was going to be a lot harder to try and get that business going. So if I had paid attention 2 years ago, when I noticed that I couldn't find anybody to answer their questions, I probably would have saved myself 2 years of heartache. I could have pivoted slightly and answered their questions, although none of them really resonated with me. I really didn't want to deal with narcissists on a full-time basis. That just felt icky to me, and everything else was kind of meh. Or pivoted to a new business sooner, which is what I have done now. It's all about you doing your research. If you're not doing your research and you don't know that people are asking for the help that you are trying to offer them, you will not likely be successful. It's just kind of how it is what it is. Now, another really great place to do this market research is on Pinterest. Plug in the questions that you think your ideal clients are asking based on your market research that you've already done. Plug in those questions, plug in those statements, and see what comes up. And if things that come up are very similar to what you ask, what you want to deal with, what your service is, what your product is, what your whatever, your widget, your whatever is about, yay, you've got it. Go run with that. Use some of their language, use your client's language. There are so many places to do this market research, and you cannot skimp on market research. Now, this is more for brand new businesses, but really, if you have been in business for any period of time and you are not making the income that you think you should be making, go back to basics and do this again. And when you've gone back to basics and done this again, then keep repeating it until you get more success. You have to know their pain points in their language and their dream outcomes in their language. And you have to talk about that solution also in their language. Now, there's another piece to this, because I'm talking about their language, but you want to be very specific about whose language you're using. Now, a video that I watched about 2 years ago from, I think she's like 18 or 19. She owns a fairly successful branding and strategy business, but she's like wildly young and she looks even younger than she is. Her name's Juliet Tenge something or other. Anyways, she specifically posted one video that was all about how to avoid attracting broke people. And the bulk of her message was the words that you use and the phrases that you use can either attract people who have money or people who are broke as shit and can't afford you. I am not an expert in that subject by any stretch of the imagination. I'm still learning it, but I will go find that video because I have it saved and I will pop it in here because it was a fantastic video. I'll drop it in the comments afterwards. Fantastic video. Go watch it afterwards. I don't think she's still doing her coaching. I think she's moved into corporate, but in any case, fantastic video all about the language shifts that you need to make from I'm broke, I'm sad, I'm lonely, I have time but no money into I am wealthy, overworked, possibly underpaid, but probably not. And I have problems more with balancing my life and with finding the time to make sure that I am taken care of in the way that I need to be taken care of. They are two totally different ways of talking about the same thing. I'm not going to talk anymore about it because I'm going to go send you that link. Okay, so number 2 is all about the funnel. Now, if you don't know what a funnel is the way that you take potential audience members from potential audience members into someone who has started to look at your products and services. Maybe they've taken a freebie or a low cost offer or something, and then bringing them along the journey so that they can become your high ticket offer clients. Now, this one, so few people actually have this dialed in. I work with generally fairly successful businesses, and I can tell you most of them do not have any kind of successful funnel in place. They have hope and prayer funneling, which is they throw out content and they don't really have any next steps on that content. And then they just kind of hope that people will hunt around and eventually find out the next step and take it. And that can really, really hold you back. You need to give at the end of every single piece of content that they consume, they need a pitch for the next piece of content in your value ladder, or maybe you're doing a lateral move to another free thing, or maybe I don't care what it is. They need to know what the next step is. If you do not give them that, you're not going to be successful. That's just how it works. Now, you do need to make sure as well that every piece of this converts, and you need to know what pieces are where people are getting stuck. You want the whole sales process to be as frictionless as possible. The less steps between them finding out about you and them buying your stuff, the better off you will be. If you have too many steps, you're not going to be successful. Raise your hand if you've heard this before, because it's so important, and yet it's really not something that a lot of people pay a lot of attention to. We hear it said, but we don't really understand it. So what it is, if you've got a say you've got a landing page, okay? And that landing page does not convert well, okay? It is for your free thing, it's for your whatever your success guide is, okay? We're going to call it a success guide. Maybe it's something else that you've got, but we're going to call it a success guide. So you've got this success guide, okay? And the landing page for it kind of sucks. Let's be honest. It's not converting. It's not getting anybody excited to go do the thing. They're like, I think I can live without it. I'm good, thanks. I'm good, thanks. Um, you need to, at that point, do a little bit of research. You need to find out if it is the fact that the thing is something that people don't want. That's where you're going back to step one, your market research. Or is it that the language on that landing page is not converting the way that it should? Is it talking about it in broke people language and you are targeting people who actually have money? Is it talking to people who have money, but you're actually targeting in all of your marketing to get them there, broke people? Is there a clear explanation of why they should get it? Ad copy, it feels really magical and mystical, and it really isn't. It's actually very simple. If you have this hell and you want this heaven, here's what I have to offer that is the solution to this problem. That's it. Now you just need to make sure that your heaven and your hell are your ideal client's heaven and hell, not the way you talk about it, not the way your fellow coaches talk about it, and that the people that you did your market research with were actually your ideal clients and not broke ass jokes. And I apologize for calling people who don't have money to do your things broke ass jokes, but they can consume your free content all they want. They are not your ideal clients. Your ideal clients can afford to pay you. I hope that's clear. I hope everybody's loving it. Okay, so now the next piece of having a funnel that works is emails. You need to have emails, and in those emails, you need to be upselling them to the next step in your value ladder or the next step in the funnel. If you don't have an email sequence, dripscripts.com, free templates, fantastic. Because then you can tweak it and make it your own, and you've got the framework laid out for all of the emails in the sequence. It is so fantastic for giving you some prompts. Don't use them just like as they are and just plug your stuff in, though. Make them your own so that they sound like you and not like some faceless corporation. Okay. I am forever, about once a month or so, I'll go in and tweak all of my emails just to make sure that they really sound like me and they really are talking to the heaven, the hell, and the heaven of my ideal clients, and that I'm killing any broke people speak. We don't want the broke people speak anymore. No more broke people speak. Okay? You are not allowed to talk in broke people's language anymore. You need to talk in an abundance language. Very important. Okay, number 3, why new coaches fail. It's fear. It's all about the fear. New coaches are terrified. So even when they are making an offer, which they don't generally do, they will hint around a little bit. They will kind of nudge at the edges of an offer, but they won't come out and clearly say, you have this hell, I have this heaven, here's the process, come get it. And it's that simple. But they're scared to. They're scared to say, so they kind of go like this, and they kind of sound like this, and then they go like this, and they say, well, I really don't understand what the real problem is, but could you come work with me, maybe, please? And that's really off-putting for people. It really is. You need to at least be able to fake confidence, because if you became a coach, you do know your shit. So adopt some confidence, pretend that it's yours, and then go do the thing and be bold and ballsy and crazy and have fun with it. Enjoy the process. Invite people in. You don't want to be begging. You don't want to be interrogating. You don't want to be scolding. You want to be saying, hey, if you have this hell and you want this heaven, I am your best shot. I have a process. I have all the things. I can do this with you. For example, I'm going to give you an example, okay? I'm going to use myself, my Pinterest business, okay? So here we go. If you are an overworked entrepreneur, you are spending hours every day trolling social media, trying to comment on posts, trying to engage with people, trying to start conversations with strangers, trying a million different things. Okay. You are probably feeling like, you're missing your family and friends. You're not spending time with anybody. You're not creating a Sylvia, you just sent me a message and I think you meant to put it on here. Anyways, fear gives your audience a lack of trust. Absolutely. Write it in here, okay? So okay, back to my pitch, okay? So if you are an overwhelmed entrepreneur, you are making a little bit of money, but you're not making as much money as you know you should because you're spending half of every day trolling on social media for your ideal clients. You're spending half of every day posting on in other people's Facebook groups, replying to comments in other people's Facebook groups, trying desperately to get your own groups all everything that they want, okay? And you're spending time trying to find people to friend, trying to cold message people. I don't mind friending people. In fact, I am growing my list by actively friending people, but I'm not pitching to them. I'm simply friending them and then letting it be. And then you'd be amazed how many people directly off the hop, their first ever email to me or message to me includes a link to their Facebook group without a reason aside from I'm really awesome to absolutely, it's hey girl marketing. Besides, I'm really awesome to join their group or take their thing or whatever. Like, no. Now, I did have one lady, Gwen Austin. She has a fantastic group. And in her group, you can go in there and you can pitch your stuff. You can do a webinar in there. She doesn't care. She's like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. Have fun. Just book it. That's it. That's her only thing is just book it in advance. Okay. She's grown her group crazy just because of that. Because she's said, okay, if you want to join my group, I would love to have you. Here's the reasons why, and here's the benefit for you of doing it. She's like the only person whose group I actually joined. And then I went and did a live a couple weeks later because why not? Right? And I'm really enjoying being in her group. There's lots of comments, and it's created a really interesting bunch of conversations in there. That is the kind of nurturing that you want. We are all, as coaches, we are so scared of giving up our platform to other people, of not sharing this, of sharing the spotlight, of potentially giving someone else the sale of some of our coaching services. Don't think of it that way. Think of it this way, okay? When you create a really strong group, or you are part of a really strong group, you're stronger together. Your ideal clients might not be their ideal clients, not really. And someone who resonates with you, they're not going to probably resonate with that other person. And if that other person is getting more sales than you, steal all their shit and use it to get more sales yourself. Use it as a learning lesson. We are so scared to experience that failure, that we're not willing to look at that as an opportunity. And it can be the most important opportunity of your life to just lean back a little bit and say, you know what? I just want to hear what your story is. I want to hear what you've got going on. I want to know more about you. And then give them what they say that they want in their language with a funnel that works and without any fear of making the offer, because the fear will hold you back so long. Now, one other piece to this is I see so many, not so much anymore, but I know when I was first starting out in coaching, a couple of years ago now, 4 years, oh my God, 4 years almost, there was a really big trend that really annoyed me, because even then I could see how bullshit it was, but I couldn't quite pinpoint why. It was the trend of naming your avatar, having her picture on your desk, for God's sake. You'd find a random picture of some chick, and she'd be a certain color of hair, certain color of eyes, probably a certain skin tone. Frick off with that shit. She drove a certain kind of car. She lived in a certain kind of neighborhood. Her and her beautiful husband had 2.5 children, and she had a certain favorite brand of clothing, and she wore a certain perfume. And shoot me fucking now. Pardon my French, but holy crap. And pardon the French people, I apologize for calling it that way, but seriously, we need to stop. Absolutely, Maureen. It sucks. It sucks. And it is not important. The only things that you should care about your avatar are their pain points and their dream outcomes. Period. Zip your lips about all the rest of it. I don't care that your avatar, her name is Carrie, and she drinks lattes with whipped foam and non-fat milk. I don't care. And neither should you. You should not care that she's a Guess bag kind of gal and not a Hermes bag kind of gal. You should not care that she likes Birkenstock shoes. Who the hell cares? It's absolutely not going to get you what you think you want. To focus on the details of appearance. Now, I understand why they were doing that. They were doing that because on Facebook, in order to tell Facebook in Ads Manager who your ideal client is, you need to know those things, or at least pretend like you know those things. But I don't know 5 people who like the same kind of brand of bag. I don't know 5 people who all need to worry about their lattes having non-fat milk in them. I don't know 5 people who I probably know 5 people who are diabetic. That's probably the only categorization I could actually make in this whole frickin' world. I probably, if I had to think about it, I know 5 people who are diabetic, and not one of them is my ideal client for either of my businesses. They're not. So you can worry about what kinds of books they like, what kinds of magazines they might be reading, what kind of online websites they go visit. Okay, those can work. But none of the rest of it matters. And that's why Facebook is not my favorite kind of platform for marketing. Their organic reach sucks. Sorry, Zuckerberg, it does. Their paid ads, you really have to know a bunch of shit about your ideal clients that you're not going to be able to know. And even if you did know it, you wouldn't necessarily, you'd be excluding a big chunk of the market. It's not things that are related. Exactly, Maureen. We change our minds anyways. What does it matter? It's a bunch of pieces of data that aren't even related to their pain points or their ideal outcomes. Now, Instagram, YouTube, other social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, other social media platforms, you can use things like hashtags to your advantage. You can use keywords to your advantage. There are ways around that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Pinterest and why it's so fantastic. Pinterest is, if Instagram and Google and Amazon had a baby, it would be Pinterest. Okay. Pinterest is a visual search engine for selling things to your ideal clients. Genius, right? Don't we all want a part of that? If we're coaches, we're like, yes, please, where do I sign up? So, really, as long as you have those pain points in their language and you have their ideal outcomes in their language, and you can talk about the journey in their language, Pinterest is a fantastic, almost free. Pinterest itself is free, but you wouldn't want to try pinning as many times as you should not natively. You'll go nuts. Use Tailwind. It's like $17 a month American. It's well worth it. I have an affiliate link if you're interested. Please sign up under my affiliate link. But so use Pinterest and just use those hashtags and those keywords, those things, the pain points and the ideal outcomes to really find your ideal clients. Let Pinterest do that work for you so that you're not in social media constantly, whether that is Instagram or YouTube comments or Quora or Reddit or Facebook groups or wherever you are hunting desperately for your clients. Use Pinterest for at least some of that time. Carve back a couple of hours every day. I know for myself, I'm gonna like blow your mind here with numbers. I have been posting now on Pinterest since April. I started my Pinterest account for this business in April. I post a weekly YouTube video. Go check out my YouTube channel. It's sherissepins. I post a weekly YouTube video, and I post sort of a weekly blog. Sometimes I go a month or two without posting on there. That's over on sherissemarie.com or on medium.com at sherissepins again. You can find all of my fun stuff there. So I have content, right? I've got a fair amount of content that I put out in a month. I don't even include, I don't have a Facebook group for this business. I maybe should, but I don't. I don't feel like I have quite a big enough audience yet. But I do have my Facebook page, but I don't market it on Pinterest. I don't. I market the YouTube channel, the success guide, and the blogs. Okay, those are my three things. With the method that I teach for creating pins, where I even only have 15 templates, which gives me 30 pins for each piece of content. Guess how many pins I'm sitting at right now? I just did this just before I got on this video. Take a wild stab in the comments below how many pins you think I have sitting, waiting in my queue, having been doing this since April. And in fact, there was a period here in July when I was neglecting my own Pinterest account desperately so that I could do all my client stuff, and I ran out of pins. So how many pins do you think I have since July, just with one thing a week and whatever? Just take a wild guess. Just a wild guess. Ballpark it. You think I've got 500, 750, 200 maybe? You're never going to guess. You're never going to guess. 1,659 pins. Now I do pin 22 times a day, but that still pins through till December. Like my content is, if I don't do another thing on Pinterest, yeah, not 1,600, Sylvia, add a one to that. It's crazy, crazy. So many pins. You didn't see it. I was in there this morning while you were doing your other things. So 1,600 pins now we are up to. It's a lot. And it means that even if I don't produce another piece of content for a very long time, I will have eyeballs on the content that I've already got live and that I've got pins going to for months. months and months and months and months and months. That's crazy to me. Crazy to me. But it's so much fun. And you too can have this kind of success. It just takes deciding, deciding that you're ready. Now, my ideal client, she's not brand new. She knows already who her ideal client is. She knows their pain points pretty well. She knows their ideal outcomes pretty well. She knows that journey that they need to make. And she can speak, in most cases, she can speak all of that stuff in a way that really resonates with her ideal clients. That's okay if you're not there yet. You should talk to me about having a brainstorming session to get you some clarity around those things, because that's something that at some point in the near future I'm going to be launching a third business. Oh my God, it's crazy, but yes, eventually Sylvia and I will be launching a third rung of our business. It's exciting. They're like little treats. I just want to own all of them. One business in each industry. I don't know. So hit me up if you are in that gray area where you're like, I've got the beginnings of a business, but I'm not quite there yet. Hit me up. We'll talk about what that could look like, working together to do that. I know Christina and I have had a few conversations about her business, getting hers kind of figured out, and I feel like it's gone fairly well. um, yeah, that's really, in a nutshell, there are three things that you absolutely have to have in order to really, truly get that business off the ground. The first one is market research, market research, market research, and then some more market research with your ideal clients. The second one is knowing how a funnel should be structured and having all the pieces of it in place before you start marketing everything. And the third one is knowing that you're an expert, owning the fact that you're an expert, not letting fear take you out of the game, and really honoring the fact that you right there, you are perfect. And you have something that your ideal clients, we do need to talk, Maureen. You have something that your ideal clients desperately want. They are desperate for it. You just have to figure all the pieces out so that you can launch it in a big way that really gets them excited and lights them up. And really make sure that you absolutely aren't afraid to say, I have something you might want. It deals with these pain points. It has all of these amazing benefits when you're done. And here's the journey. Let's go talk. Okay. So go do that. When you're ready, come see me. We've got Pinterest stuff up the wazoo. We are mid-launch. Actually, Sylvia and I are mid-launch for our Pinterest 101 course. If you have tried a Pinterest to get a Pinterest account going in the past, or if you are a VA and you are thinking about offering Pinterest, or if you haven't really had any experience with Pinterest, but you're kind of curious about it and you've got a successful business that works, either you come, send your VA, do something. It is 6 weeks. It's a fast-paced boot camp. Every week you're going to have a little bit of homework. It's not a lot, really. I walk you through every single step. We have one-on-one calls. We have group calls. And at the end of 6 weeks, you will have your Pinterest account completely up, completely running, and it will already be bringing in traffic. Sounds good, right? If that sounds interesting to you, hit me up and I will post the link underneath here as well. I'm going to go find Juliet, or Sylvia, remind me, I have to go find Juliet's link, and I'm going to post the link for our Pinterest Secrets Pinterest 101 program as well. Thank you very much for being here today. It was a lot of fun talking to you. I will be going live again tomorrow and talking about more stuff. Tomorrow is at 10 a.m. Mountain, which is 9 Pacific or noon Eastern. So come hang out with me here again. Okay? We'll talk soon. Bye.